psychological warfare side of competition seems to really be gaining more and more importance. And as someone that comes from a catch wrestling background who's been showing cranks and chin picks and things like that for a long time, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a time now. If you kind of go back a little bit, it was more of a I don't want to say like a rat race, but it was a race to the finish line. And then it became kind of like a technique for technique, who could out technique each other. And I say now, guys are good, either based on their skill level, based on their will. You have to present something different. You have to do something that, like you say, attacks the psyche. You have to everyone's moving towards like a little bit of a rougher role. The ugly jiu-jitsu is what they were calling it, like I get CJI, the ugly jiu-jitsu. But honestly, I say, hey, if you apply it as a fight science, it is structured to put your opponent in to a certain level of discomfort, takes them away from their game plan.
Welcome back to the BJJ Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ford. My guest today is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has over 40 years of experience in wrestling. He's also a certified coach in the Scientific Wrestling Catch Wrestling System. He's a bronze certified coach under USA Wrestling. His Instagram profile, Blackout Grappling, has obtained a huge following, and he shares daily techniques that blend wrestling with jiu-jitsu for all grapplers to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be joined today for the third time on the podcast by David Petrone. How are you today, David?
I am awesome. Great to talk to you again, Ryan.
It's great to have you back, sir. I really appreciate it. And David, I want to take a moment to thank you, man, because over the last year, your cradle system has had a massive impact on my game. And many of my teammates have pulled me aside after training, like, dude, what is that you're doing? What is that thing? And so it's changed the way I pass guard. I never realized how deep the position could go until I started following your instructionals. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it, because it's the knowledge that you've laid out has helped me out tremendously.
Well, thank you, man. That means a lot to me as well, especially where you train. It's a very high level room, and for those guys to acknowledge, what you're doing, because of what we put in place, that's what we're here for, man. Anything I can do to help. That's the kind of responses that I actually, look forward to, or I'm excited about, when guys are just like real dudes in a real room, training hard, and they're like, hey man, I was running your shit, I had, success with it here, success with it there, or people were asking me about it. So yeah, that kind of stuff really gets me excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving more into that later in the conversation. We'll talk more technique, but man, let's catch up, because the last time you were on the show, I think you were still in Florida. You've now moved to Vegas.
Yes.
What made that happen, and what's life in Vegas been like so far?
Well, let's just say it's Vegas, baby. Wow. For me, I'm a little more recluse. So to be living in Sin City is just, it's extreme. But I love it. It's, what we would consider like, combat, sports, headquarters, or, it's definitely the place to be for mixed martial arts, MMA, grappling. But for us, it was a little bit of both. There was some personal or family stuff. My daughter came out here to work with a culinary institute, and but for us, it was also to level up a little bit. We did have the academy in Orlando, but I was traveling so much, and doing seminars and instructionals and stuff. It was tough to kind of maintain the schedule or a daily routine. I would just kind of give the guys the keys and be like, don't hurt each other. But out here we just kind of set up like a a headquarters kind of for ourselves. We do privates, but I'm really just kind of here, and then I'm back and forth. So that was the things that we travel a lot. So we just started to focus on the seminars and traveling and our filming and instructionals. But out here in Vegas, it's awesome. It's actually it's really cool. We don't have an active gym because I don't want to be in that like a competitive scenario with gym versus gym. Our material is for everyone. I feel like to set up an actual like headquarters may close a few doors for us. Where here we're just kind of neutral and offer new material for different grapplers, people, studios and academies and stuff. So that's just kind of our gig, what we got going on.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, we really are in cool times right now in the world where you don't necessarily have to have a physical school anymore. Like there's a lot of guys who are successful black belts that travel and do seminars, they do instructionals, they have YouTube channels, they have Instagram profiles, they have ways that they reach an audience and make income teaching jiu-jitsu without
that's
actual
us.
brick and mortar school. Yeah, dude, that's cool as hell, man. I think it's awesome.
Well, and also for me, I'm super transparent. I'm really honest about most of the stuff that we do, and honestly, like I to have. Set students are guys that come every day or don't come every day. That's where I take it a little personal. I would drive 45 minutes both ways, to train every night. And then I have some guys that would, live down the road, and it's like, well, why are you not here? But for myself, like I say, I'm really honest about it. And it's more fulfilling to me to, kind of have an experience with people that I don't know, or a light bulb moment with maybe say like a high level jiu-jitsu player or grappler, or a new guy that's like, wow, this is awesome. So for me, I like the event setting. I like the seminars. I like to share with different people all the time. Gets a little the same 10, 11 guys every night, they start to get a little complacent. So, no, I like, for me, I get more fulfillment out of it to have those different moments with, different people, so that's kind of that personally, that's kind of my thing though.
Yeah. I think if I were to delve into the world of teaching, that's probably the avenue I would go to. I don't know if I'd want to have the fun of teaching people jiu-jitsu and rolling with them and sharing knowledge and things like that and getting to meet new people and all that. But I wouldn't want to have the responsibility of paying the rent, paying the electricity, dealing with in-person, like dealing with students like dating each other and then having to kick somebody out of the school, or dealing with just the interpersonal crap that comes along with running a school. I don't think I'd want to do
that. I love and I'll be honest, I love teaching the kids. It was awesome and stuff, but the parents are something else,
Oh God. Yeah.
But no, but it's more like a personal thing. Like I say, for me, it's more fulfilling to kind of have these moments where, because I'm a product of that, where I say this at most of my seminars, at the end of them and stuff, where I had an experience with just even with the surfing. It's like I was a little kid and paddling and struggling to try and get past the waves. I was just kind of caught inside, and I had a stranger just come out of nowhere and take like maybe 45 seconds out of his time and straighten me out and say, hey, put your chest here, pat, lean back, kind of adjust me, and then just disappeared. And then, but from that just little interaction, the next thing I knew, I found myself outside the waves. I found myself able to, turn and catch waves. And now I'm 53. I still surf today, so if I can kind of be that person to someone, within the grappling community, like I say, even for say someone that is a seasoned grappler, veteran, high level, colored belt, black belt, to maybe show them something that they haven't seen before, or just a different version of a technique, and them to kind of like have a little bit of that light bulb moment, or like I say, the new guys, or even just people that are familiar with, say, wrestlers. That's kind of our purpose, where wrestlers are familiar with these different grappling holds, but don't understand the art of submission or the transition to link them. That's what kind of what I do. But for me, it's about that experience, that moment.
That's super cool, man. Well, obviously not as many waves out in Vegas, so I assume you're not surfing as much. But like you, like you said though, Vegas is the combat sports capital of the world. I mean, it's
yes.
Where everything goes down. And in fact, I've seen you in the crowd at a couple different grappling events. I saw you at PGF, which I think was out there.
Yes.
I think I saw you at a UFC Invitational too. You were like front row. I'm always like, damn, dude, David's got these great front row tickets out there. That's one perk.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, that's what I say about the benefits of being out here. It's really cool. And like I say, we have a lot of doors open to us. I am a little bit of a recluse though. I don't go out too much, but when I do, I make sure I have a nice time. Shout out to their PGF's getting ready to come around again. And what an incredible event the first one was. It's tough because they're pretty much back to back. The guys are getting ready to go, I think, like around the first week in November. But it's an incredible event. And then I think that, as far as our topic, or a point of discussion, that's a good point to start from, based on like it was a pretty intense tournament, Ryan. Like, let me tell you, the guys were fighting for their lives. Like, there's money there was money at stake, but all those guys were fighting for reputation for sure. But it was actually cool to see because of what we've been presenting lately beyond the cradle, just, like our hybrid grappling, our, different take on, traditional positions. You've seen some of the stuff that we've done with the chin manipulation and, different kind of cranks and grips, where I get a little mixed reviews. Some people are like, wow. And then some people are like, hey, it could be dangerous. But that's what the tap is in place for. We all know that. But it was cool to see, like I say, like, hey, I was just in Florida in the same, California. We were at Subversive, and the movement or the direction that this is going in, or where the technique, it was cool because as rough as it was still tactical. Guys were using the smother. And I'll be honest with you, there wasn't one rear naked choke, one RNC that was below the chin. I mean, it was all like straight bane, like, it was, yeah. Yeah. But we get mixed, a little bit of, mixed reviews on it, but, it's just honestly depends on where your moral compass lies. I've said that before. I say that all the time. But if you apply it as a fight science, you can move past the taboo. And honestly, like I said, I just sat at PGF. It was 16 of some of the toughest guys, or most top grapplers right now on the scene, or competitively. And man, it was rough.
It was. And I'd actually love to pick, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something I really would love to get your thoughts on, because I have been noticing more and more in the competitive grappling scene, especially in ADCC and CJI and those kinds of events. Mm-hmm. is that the sport really is moving in a more physical direction, where we're seeing much more aggression with collar ties. We're seeing more smothering chokes like you're describing with the hands and
Or the chest, the mother's milk.
Yeah, mother's milk. Yeah, cranks, neck cranks. In Brazil, they call those kind of techniques grosserias is what they're called in Brazil. In the U.S., I've heard them referred to as rude jitsu. And then of course some people refer to them as dick moves. You know, it just depends who you talk to.
That's the classic. Yeah,
yeah. But it seems to me that as the level of technical skill continues to rise in grappling, other tools are starting to come out of the bag more to become a factor. The psychological warfare side of competition seems to really be gaining more and more importance. And as someone that comes from a catch wrestling background who's been showing cranks and chin picks and things like that for a long time, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Where it's a time now. If you kind of go back a little bit, it was more of a I don't want to say like a rat race, but it was a race to the finish line. And then it became kind of like a technique for technique, who could out technique each other. And I say now where a lot of guys are good, either based on their skill level, based on their will. Some guys will, go to sleep. They won't tap. They make it tough, or guys are good. There's a lot of you have to present something different. Not so much say like technique for technique anymore. You have to do something that, like you say, attacks the psyche. You have to move. Everyone's moving towards like a little bit of a rougher roll. The ugly jujitsu is what they were calling it, like at CGI or CJI, the ugly jujitsu. But honestly, I say, hey, if you apply it as a fight science, it is structured to say, put your opponent in, to a certain level of discomfort where it affects their reaction time or their connection to their strategies. Takes them away from their game plan. The same with just the what you would consider like the basic of say the smother to disrupt the breathing. I say that too with a lot of our chin pick techniques where once the chin or the smother kind of grip is solidified, I don't know too many guys that will go past that to continue their technique without removing it first. It's like, hey, I want this dude's hand off my face. Like, what the fuck? But it tactically, that's the point of vulnerability or exposure that you're looking for from applying that, said taboo technique. But, I also look at it like I say, how many times have guys gone for guillotines or, front headlocks and, the chin strap it's traditional, it's wrestling 101, 10 finger chokes, all that stuff. So for me, it's not so shocking, I just understand that where it's going, based on the level of competitor nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's funny. I recently had a conversation with Damien. He was basically saying that these kinds
How
of
did you do that cradle on me? No, I'm just
no. Damien's one guy. That's one guy I haven't been able to cradle or do anything else to yet, for that matter. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, but no, I saw that really cool. Like you got to roll with him and everything. Yeah, I've been fortunate. With my jiu-jitsu instructor, like he comes from what they could call the real jiu-jitsu. Like his professor. My lineage is Roletta, Gordo, all those guys, I had a chance to roll with them and train with all those guys. It was really, really cool. So you're lucky where you're at.
I get smashed by Damien pretty much every week. I get to roll with him. But with that said, one thing that Damien will do if he gets your back is, he will technically sink in rear naked chokes and things like that. But if you're really defending hard, he'll absolutely come up under the nose and kind of pull up a little bit. Nothing like nothing out of that would be inappropriate, but he'll absolutely open things up. And then he explains like, man, sometimes the guy won't open up. You got to open it up. You know, you can't just always expect that you can gently get under the guy's chin. And I figure he's one of the best rear naked chokers in the world. So if that's what he's doing, you know what I mean? So but it's kind of like you said, there is a moral compass, and you have to kind of understand, okay, what is being excessive and what's appropriate roughness. And I think that, you know, we're not baking cake here. We're doing jiu-jitsu.
I love it. Yeah, I say that. I say that a lot. It's like, I'm not giving you crayons to color with. Kid,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
No. So with that said, in your opinion, where does the line get drawn to separate something that's rough but appropriate and something that's inappropriate and maybe bad sportsmanship?
Man, that's you just wow. So I have a series or a couple techniques where we attack the nervous system. You know, I say like where you know, guys I'll always go for like a you know, punch choke, or they try to get in, like say on a top mount or side mount, side control position. So for me, it's much more efficient if we attack the nervous system, meaning so I'll take the knuckles, instead of trying to find the one artery, to slowly, you know, for 8+ seconds, if applied directly, you know, you'll have a result from your opponent. But as soon as he removes that, or it resets the clock. So we have a technique where I go in and we apply the knuckles to the face. We attack the trigemius nerve. It's a central nervous system that comes around to the face, and it's censoring. It's all your nerve endings, and the result is much faster. And now guys perceive it as being maybe a little like say, oh, where's the line drawn? But for me, it's more efficient. It's more direct, and the tap is more pronounced. So I don't really see where a line should be drawn. You know, that's that because for your opponent, it's much quicker. I don't want to say this in you know, kind of like in a grotesque way, but it's a quicker bullet to the head. You know, instead of being beat up by the butt of the gun, it's just one quick pow, and then we get the tap. I say that too about some of our crank positions where we've had some people comment, you know, about the you know, you could break his neck, and it's like it actually the body doesn't allow that. The psyche doesn't allow that. You know, that's what the tap is put in place for. I say that repeatedly, but also, like I say, how many times have you seen guys fight the Kimura? Pow, and the arm breaks. How many times have you seen them fight the arm bar? Pow, and the joint explodes. Or, you know, just the ankle pops and the guys don't even like, oh no, my foot's broke. It happens so fast. But how many times have you seen the neck broken? You know, how many times that it doesn't, because again, the psyche doesn't, it doesn't allow it. The tap comes on so fast. It's such a shock to your opponent, just the positioning. Like I say, a lot of times we'll just grab some of that stuff and put it in place, and they'll tap just based on what's to come, you know, or the really, once the position is solidified, you can feel that, you know, it's kind of, your back is against the wall, so to speak. But it's some of your traditional positions don't allow that. So I'm not sure what everyone's talking about when you can snap my ankle in less than, you know, a quarter of a second, pow, or, you know, I put my hand on, I start to tug on your neck, you know, you have more of an opportunity to respond. As well, you and I have talked about it a few times, and I say it, I've said it before, where there is some history involved, where actually the crank is not as evil as everyone perceives it to be, that it actually was put in place that the strangle was banned, early catch wrestling, that where guys would fight the strangle and then go unconscious, where the crank was put in place, where it brings on the say uncle much quicker, So for me, it's all technique. For me, it's all fight science. Everyone else puts it in categories as to say taboo or dick moves, but it's just evolved strategy. Actually, I say evolved, but I did a technique. When we put the video, and Eric Paulson was like, "Hey, I haven't seen this move in like 30 years, but he had seen it,
Yeah.
So, but again, where a couple, other people were like, "Oh man, that's so dangerous," but someone who knows, true technique and position and intent, was, was stoked by it. So I'm okay. I'm okay with where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
but the conversation here is that, hey, I'm not the only one. The community, is moving in that direction where I say, guys are really good, so you have to put something different in front of them, and it has to really be beyond technique. It has to be a physical application enough to where they're taken away from their strategy. They're put in this moment of oh no, kind of thing, where they have to deal with a different situation, be it the hand on the face or the cranking of the neck, or just whatever level of discomfort, before they can transition or move into their next position. And all this is a blink of an eye. You know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something I actually meant to mention earlier when I was talking about what Damien was saying, is that he was saying that discomfort is a really valuable motivator. I mean, it really is.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it really
it
will make you, like, if you're cranking this way because the choke is trying to sink it over here, and then you turn away from the crank to alleviate that, you're now in the choke. So it can be a valuable way to guide someone.
It is. So that is fight science. That is a strategy. So yeah, and again, it's based on this guy defending well, doing what he's supposed to do. And again, you have to, kind of, everyone says this, you have to zig when others are zagging. And me, bro, I'm on the other street watching you fools go back and forth. Like, so, but it's cool awesome that you say that Damien's hip to that, but again, guys that know. And then that's just what I'm trying to do, is just bring that back, or just present it and say, hey, these options are available. And you'll be surprised at the results you have. You may not walk out of the gym with the guy at the same time, or you might not get a, hey, later, bro, see you later.
no invite to the barbecue. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, that's not, I say that jokingly, but honestly, like, look where the responses that you get. And I have that too, where real people aren't turned off by it. They're more intrigued by it or interested in, just a different option, or, like I say, my thing is trying to be effective through efficiency. That's just kind of it, man. That sounded good, but it is, I just, like I say, based on examples of why try to chase one artery when there's over, 1,000 nerve endings in your, in your face, just that kind of thing, where, and then the different positions can be more offensive than, say, structural, to, like, say knees, just basic knees on the mat, side control. I use a folk style ride. I'm chest to chest, like I'm trying to pin the guy in 9th grade high school. You know what I mean? But that pressure changes their idea of, say, escape, or it again, it's an attack on the psyche, or the psychological warfare is put in place through pressure through discomfort, maybe a elbow here or a forearm there, but it's just nothing to be, say, a dick. It's just, I need to get these specific reactions out of my opponent. And I'm not going to get that by, knees on the mat in a gable grip. I have to have a, crush, turn the face away, elbow in the sternum, kind of, you have to make it rough in order for them to expose themselves or make themselves vulnerable. If not, you're just going to be battling technique for technique. It's like, what page am I on now? Oh man,
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's also a matter of getting into, if you're on the competitive side, if you're actually competing in tournaments and things like that, it's a matter of getting in the other guy's head, which is a huge.
I say, you're right on, because at the PGF, it was that, as much as it was, say, tactical, it still was a little, like you say, it was to get, guys were doing smother from a bottom position guard, like they're from the bottom, like just to turn the guy's head away. Guys in the top were, double smothered, two hands, like murder choke. Like it was scary. Like kicking in the chest, like, oh yeah. But again, it was all just to disrupt, there's there's the opponent's strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the two modern competitors that I think do this really well, they come to mind when I think of these kinds of things, are going to be Andrew Tackett and Wagner Rocha. I think those are two guys. I think those are two guys that use psychological warfare and have a very grinding, physically offensive game. They're in your face. They're real intense, but it still stays in the realm of reason regarding sportsmanship.
I think 100.
I think for people that want to see an illustration or an example of someone that uses a very physically aggressive style appropriately in competition, Andrew Tackett and Wagner Rocha are two guys.
Yeah, sure. And it's cool that you mentioned the both of them, because the generational split is huge. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yep. But again, very cool, because Andrew's new school. It's a new generation, but he's resourcing old school, rough and tumble techniques, but also where, Wagner's last match was awesome. But also, with respect to him, the same, where he was almost kind of, it was frowned upon just a couple years ago, him doing the smother and being kind of rough and elbows here and, that kind of thing, where they're like, it's dirty, this and that. Now everybody's excited to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the thing to keep in mind is that's why I keep saying within reason, like appropriate levels of aggression. Like if you're doing something like you're intentionally elbowing someone in the face, like, dude, you're going beyond, you're striking now in a grappling art. But if you're smothering someone with your hand, it's not exactly the most friendly thing to do, but you're not going to injure somebody.
Or you use your forearm to kind of pin, you want, strategically, you want your opponent to, you're taught to face the fight. You want to be in it. So I like to turn their face away as any opportunity I get to, turn them away from the fight. A lot of times, that creates torque on the spine, and it prevents them to kind of shrimp and face you, as far as like a jiu-jitsu player, or even a high level wrestler who wants to bridge and turn away. They can't with the chin pinned to the mat, So, but if you're observing that, you're like, hey man, that guy's just jamming on his face. Or no, strategically I have him controlled and pinned, and it's a spine manipulation where he can't turn and face me, they can't bridge away, and I'm actually in the driver's seat. So just again, it depends on where your moral compass is gonna land.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this. Let's say like there's a blue belt listening to the show here, and they're hearing this conversation thinking, okay, fuck it, I'm going to go neck crank people today in training. What are some words of wisdom or words of caution or anything that you would say to someone who's, I guess, at the beginner to intermediate level that wants to start maybe applying some of these kinds of things?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, because it does start with education. When you say that, like, oh, you're gonna go and crank on the person, a lot of times, man, the crank and the position or the hold itself, when it's set in place, both you and the opponent are connected, and you can feel it before it goes. That's kind of where the tap comes into place. But as far as the level of control, for sure it has to be monitored. But it's a little tough. When you say, I feel that, as when you say a blue belt, I would be I would be more concerned, based on, I say, like, the level of control, but also it's also a little bit of the responsibility lays on the opponent. You got a guy on your head, you got a guy on your back, he's ripping on your neck. Depending on their belt level or their level, as far as, like, gi, no gi, whatever, it's also a moment to educate as well. You can tap and then rewind the whole thing and be like, hey bro, you can do this, you can do that. And there's a learning moment for everyone. But I mean, it's, how it is. It's tough to control the bulls. But it's, that's what the tap is for, brother, for sure. Even if it's to just kind of put the brakes on everything, like, whoa, dude, you won't get them to stop any other way. But I say, if you look at it like, hey, I'm just going to go and crank on somebody, I don't sign off on that at all. But I just feel like, hey, if you have that idea, there's plenty of platforms where you can go. You can look at the technique, you can see what they're doing, and then if you want to go and apply it or go and try it, yeah. It's the same as somebody wants to say, hey, I'm gonna go and do foot locks today. I'm gonna go and grab someone in a toe hold, and next thing you know, they pop the guy's knee because they just cranked it. What's the difference? That's a tough one for me, because I always end at that, where it's like, hey, you're trying to break my foot. I could never walk again. What's the difference if I'm cranking on your neck? But the tap, I have more of an opportunity to tap with you on my neck than I do with you on my leg or my foot. So it's tough to get some people to think beyond that, because they just follow the trends. They are kind of caught up in. I always say, like, urban legend, but the crank. Like I say, the crank is. Kind of frowned upon. I mean, even just
Sure.
with the way that you describe that, like, hey, I'm gonna go and crank on people. But it's actually, you get a quicker response. You get a quicker tap. You get a quicker say uncle. And then whether it's a wild rip or not, you're still going to get that the quicker than if someone was trying to yank on your foot or a rear naked or a strangle. So, but I always say that education is important. Know before you go.
Yeah. No, I think that, I think you answered that really well, man. I think the big point to take away from that is understanding the idea of control. Like if you're going to play
on
toe
any
holds,
submission, really, yeah.
Like you said, if you're going to play toe holds, you're not going to grab the guy's foot and then just rip it to break his knee. You're going to apply it in a controlled manner in a training situation to let him tap. Same thing would go with any of these too. So I think you answered that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great.
But I do say, it comes on much quicker, the attacking of the neck and the stuff, you get a much quicker response than if, you're trying to pull on my arm. I'm going to fight it. Guys try to fight the leg lock, all that stuff. And then next thing you know, the knee pops before the ankle, actually, or that just where guys, you've seen some of them, even some of the younger guys that just rip the leg lock. And, a few guys have been hurt from it. So to me, it's like, hey, listen, a submission is a submission. It's about control on for any technique. You're not going to just take my arm and rip a kimura or double wrist lock. You break my shoulder. But it could happen where I'm trying to fight it, and it pops. But if I feel tension on my neck or something, I'll surely tap before that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it very much falls on both people. It falls on the person applying it to have a reasonable level of control, and it falls on the person that's in the move to know when to say uncle, when to tap, and when to just restart the round. I've always said, man, I don't care how advanced I ever get in jiu-jitsu. If a day one white belt uses jiu-jitsu properly on me and catches me and I see that I'm going to get hurt, dude, I'll tap right away. I have no problem. No problem, because you did it. You used jiu-jitsu correctly. I'm not better than jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and then it's like, hey, so what are these techniques formulated to do? This technique is formulated to pop my joint at my ankle or my knee first, and then the ankle, whatever, Yeah. This is formulated to break my elbow joint. You have
to respect
so like we said earlier, we're not playing with Matchbox or coloring with crayons,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me ask you this, David. So as someone that has trained a long time and taught for a long time, let's say someone out there doesn't quite feel comfortable doing rude jiu-jitsu like this, but they're dealing with people that are, like, they're rolling against someone that is pretty aggressive with the way they apply techniques. What do you think is the best way for someone that's that's not quite as rough to neutralize a hyper aggressive training partner or an opponent in a match in jiu-jitsu? Like, in other words, how do you shut down some of these rude techniques?
Whew, that's a tough one, man. Coming from me, because I am an applicator, and these techniques are built to kind of break down traditional systems in what you need to create space, frames, shrimping. We just the way that the hybrid grappling side controller position is set up, it's almost kind of like at a 45. I have some videos, or I have some instructionals that exhibit the style, but like I say, you're asking how to defend against those. It's tough because it's kind of meant to break down those systems. Not to say that they're foolproof and you're just going to run right through the person. That's not a reality. But as it's best, as far as like what would actually work, is space. Space is the best. Actually, space, distance, and you need something in between you. That's the probably, as far as like techniques and stuff. You need you need strong frames, quick hips, and you need to know how to use your legs as a separate system, but I say that moving forward, where, bro, guys are so good now, you think you have someone trapped in a side control position. Next thing you know, you're buggy choked, or you have some kind of weird, a fly trap or some kind of shit around your neck, and your arm barred. It's like, what happened? Through study and just, evolution and witnessing these things, we have a different style of ride to kind of manage the torso through pressure and discomfort, and then you can kind of manage the leg attacks, if any, or control the hips through as far as like a shrimp, or opportunity for them to kind of escape or get their hips out. So if people are hearing this, you have to kind of witness the material for sure, but it is pretty much like a folk style application, where it's a heavy chest to chest pressure, elbows deep. We ride heavy and hard, where like I say, if you're looking for a defense to that, it's best to do what you can to create space and put something in between you for sure.
Yeah, great. It's funny as you're saying that. I can picture that the number one thing would be to keep your head away from them, because a lot of these things come from if they can easily access your head, that's a problem for sure.
So that's the thing too. We have we're working towards it. I'm trying to get a date, a filming date, but I have a new instructional that we're set to film with. That material is kind of based on that, where we use the cradle as like a defensive system against the inversion, against the false reap, against K guard, all that stuff where a lot of guys do the opposite. They want to move away from the technique, and then that gives the other guy opportunity to solidify the limb or the leg or the ankle. You know what I mean? So collecting the head is a major part of this material that we have coming up. Where guys don't do that, and the cradle solidifies all three: the head, the hips, and the knees all at once. Boom. So
that's awesome. That's super cool. I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah, this one is really good because of the popularity of the leg attacks and those systems, a false reap, that kind of stuff. Where, like I say, the defensive application, people are kind of stuck in like traditionally trying to escape from that instead of trying to apply a different technique, which is our cradle. So, we kind of I'm moving towards that, but it is like I say, collecting the head and the control. It's really important for sure.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't wait to see the new material that you put out, man. It's like I said, so far everything you've got with us is awesome. David, I'll tell you what, we've reached about the halfway point of the show, man. You've done this before, so you know what to expect. This is where we play the Pummel game.
Cool.
Yeah, for people that haven't heard this before, the Pummel is a series of random questions. Some of these are about jiu-jitsu. Some of them have nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. But David, if you'd like to play for the third time, I'd love to run through this with you.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. I was looking forward to it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I added a couple new questions since you've been on last. Question 1, what's the largest animal you think you could beat in hand-to-hand combat?
Oh, wow. Man, you want to know something? Okay, I know a bunch of guys will probably get on here and tell you some bullshit, but listen, bro. I had three full. There was a bunch of 3 full-grown pit bulls. They were all brothers. The outside dog didn't like the inside dogs. I kind of got caught in between them, bro. I had 17 stitches in this arm, like 3 full punctures in this, and they crushed the muscle. It was probably one of the worst. So let me just kind of tighten this up for you, because everyone's like, oh, I'll beat that dog, or I'll kill that dog. I'll do this, or I'll beat that bear. Holy mackerel. I had never felt a power or it humbled me. I'll say that. I don't want to say that it bitched me, but it humbled me. I was in shock. He bit my arm here, boom, like that. And, I reached in to try and grab, and then he bit the other arm. Like it was savage. They were in the middle of a dog fight. It was bad management. So no fault on theirs. But honestly, bro, you're not going to get too far with what you think. I mean, at best, maybe I can kick a possum or something, bro. But like, I'm serious. You're not going to beat a bear. You're not going to, no, dude. And then, if you have you seen some of those big dogs and that kind of stuff? So let me say, honestly, bro, I was in the middle of a dog attack and it was rough. So, anything bigger than those guys, the 3 dogs were close to like 90, 100 pounds, 110, something like that. So it was pretty rough. Did I manage it? Yeah, I was able to kind of get him and put him into the cage and stuff. But Man, I honestly, bro, I mean, other than like I say, um, scare a raccoon. I don't know, man, honestly. And that's a real answer from someone that's been in. And I had a shark swim through my legs too at New Smyrna. That was scary. It was like a car tire went through my leg. So I say that, like, you've seen the videos where the lion bites the guy or something, and everyone's like, whoa, hey, listen, I had a dog bite me and I almost lost it. I couldn't imagine, when the bear grabs the lady when she's doing the interview. It's like, dude, that's Mother Nature. So honestly, bro, I don't know how far I would get with fighting the animals, for sure.
Dude, I love the honest answer, man. I also had a very funny mental picture of you cradling a possum, so I appreciate that. That was great. But dude, I will say, like, sure, there's a bunch of listeners that'll message me after each episode goes out, and they'll usually critique what animal people chose. Like, dude, that guy's not gonna fight a bear. That guy's not gonna beat a lion.
Yeah, no.
Yes, yeah, no. It is an answer that sometimes people don't quite understand, like the difference between humans and the animal kingdom, for sure.
Yeah, I had my friends one time. I can't say it, but Bob, we had the alligator, like a 4-foot alligator. Yeah. They're trying to put it in the trunk, and bro, it's like so much power. Like, no, you don't really understand it, and then you think you're like, oh, I'm a tough guy, and it's like, no way, bro. You'd be surprised.
Anytime someone mentions like an ape of any kind, like, unless it's like a little like spider monkey or something, and even then those things are vicious. But like, dude, like there's a video of an orangutan that grabbed the guy. I think it was in China or Asia somewhere. And this guy was too close to its cage, and it grabbed the guy's shirt and then pulls him in and gets a hold of his wrist and then gets a hold of his shoulder. And it took, I don't know if you've seen that video, but dude, it took like 7 people like pulling on this guy. And they weren't making any effort at all to break the grip of the orangutan. So it's just like, dude, that's yeah. Well,
so that's an honest answer, bro.
I appreciate
I'll choke the shit out of somebody, but I'll break a guy's leg. I'll pop his arm. I'll put someone to sleep, man. But anything 4 legs like that, you better be prepared.
Better be ready. Next question: If you found a genie lamp and you could have 3 wishes, normal genie rules apply, so no wishing for more wishes and no killing people. What 3 wishes would you ask for?
Privacy, unlimited waves, and probably like a field of weed.
That's great. That's a true surfer answer, my friend. I like that. Good waves. That's awesome.
For sure.
Good answer. Do you have any tattoos? And if so, what's your favorite one?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I have a bunch. I'll probably say my favorite one is this one.
The blackout. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
I have a couple other, but they're more kind of covered shirt kind of tattoos. Yeah, everybody knows I have the big weed one on my back. So
yeah. That's awesome.
But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was your first tattoo?
I have a giant stomach tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, massive.
What is it?
It's a giant pentagram with a marijuana leaf in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, just saying.
That's awesome.
That's what it is.
How old were you when you got that?
So I'll be honest, bro. I was like 30.
Okay.
I didn't have any tattoos until, I built swimming pools, for like 14 years, and I made a bunch of money, and I was just like, fuck yeah, it's tattoo time. So I just went a little crazy. And,
awesome.
I got like a big Danzig one on my shoulders. Nice. And then a big pot leaf on my back. And then I have this on my stomach, and then 2 big like demon heads here on the side. And then, I just, this one for the blackout. And then I just got like this. It's like a Black Widow skull head thing.
Nice.
So, and I just did this one too. I just got this one. And I'll be honest with you, this It didn't hurt at all. I'm not trying to be a tough guy or
Really?
anything. I mean, I
Okay.
just told you I got abused by dogs, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was such a surprise. So, and partly about the tattooer's technique as well. But no, I was really surprised. I was scared. Honestly, I was like, oh no. And then it didn't hurt. So I
That
don't know
is
what to say, but
That's
it
interesting.
was
Yeah,
cool.
I've always heard like I've always heard like the throat and like the inner arm, like inner armpit area and like a rib cage are supposed to be kind of rough
Nah, I'll be
spots.
honest with you. I have my wife's name across my chest here, and I don't know what if one has to do with the other, but man, it hurt. Yeah,
You get extra
it
points with the
hurt.
wife for that though. You always tell her that's the one that hurt the most because he gets you more brownie points for sure. It's also
Yeah.
funny when I start the question with "Do you have any tattoos?" and the guy in front of me has throat tattoos. It's an obvious
Well, I don't
question
know.
there.
I try to keep my stuff tight. Yeah, I'm not really an exhibitionist, like that.
Yeah. Have you ever had a supernatural experience? And if so, what was it?
Okay. Well, when you say that, man, it's like, uh, well, um, so I'll say the you say supernatural. I'm not sure if it's that, but I was like 1989 or something. I was living in Puerto Rico with me and a buddy of mine, like fucking barefoot, just living on the beach, trying to chase waves and stuff. Um, it was cool because later they put us up in like this house because all the Dominican people like would come, or there was like people they would come on a boat and then hide them in this house and stuff, and they put us in this house uh, um, to like kind of keep them from going in. They lit the yard on fire. It was crazy. But man, there was there's a place in Puerto Rico on the beach that we lived at. It's called Tres Palms, 3 palm trees, and it gets big, like 25 feet. And it was the like kind of I say second time surfing it. I was a little more confident, and I took. Which I normally don't do, but I took the first wave of the set. It looked good, and I took it, and I was riding it, and I made a mistake of kind of cutting out early. Like I was just a little full of myself, like yeah, and I cut out. But honestly, bro, you're supposed to ride that wave all the way to the channel, and then you kind of kick out because behind that first wave is another four monsters. And just long story short, I got caught inside. I got pummeled by the next set that was coming through, and I pretty much, like I tell everyone, I was like, bro, I was gone. I just like saw like just a little bit of the like a light like like it was dark, and then just like a small light, and I don't know. I was just like, the next thing I know, I was like kind of at the top, and it was like, oh my god, it was like looking around for my board and my stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not like I've seen a ghost or anything or
Yeah.
nothing like that, but I was pretty close.
It's close to, yeah.
Like,
That would definitely
yeah,
qualify as like a scary moment for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Like I say, yeah, it definitely was kind of peaceful.
Dude, that's
But
funny. It's
I don't
funny
know
you
how
say
I
that.
ended up on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because like I've talked to people that have had, because one of the questions I always ask on the Pummel is the scariest moment of your life. And a couple people over the years have talked about almost drowning, and they've said the same thing. In fact, Hiram Gracie said the same thing. He said that
Wow.
he was doing this thing where they read like this like jet, those jetpack things that you can fly
Yeah.
above the water. So his went
And
upside,
shoots
his went upside down, and it shot him down to the bottom of like down towards the floor of the ocean. And he thought he was going to die. And he said the immediate thing that happened was just this complete sense of tranquility, like right
Yeah.
before he was about to pass out. And then thankfully somehow he got back up. But it's
Yeah,
weird.
same.
The body does that. I guess. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, Joe Rogan makes a joke about that, where he's like, how when the lion jump comes over the cage, how your mind just like goes poof, and
Yeah.
this to Rainbow Land, like
Yeah.
just so it shuts everything down. Yeah.
Little DMT kick or whatever. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. What do you think is the worst job you've ever had?
Oh man. Um. So I can't say like I've had like terrible ones. Like, I guess, everyone's probably looking for like a kind of shit story or something. I don't know. But like I say, where, it's part of where I come from and stuff too. I would spend my summers. I spent like 6 summers, going up to Pennsylvania. First couple of times was as a participant, and then I worked there, at the Russ Houck's wrestling camp, up in Pennsylvania. It was like the Olympic Training Center, after New York Athletic Club and before Foxcatcher kind of stuff. Russ Houck, that's where I met Wade Chalice. Gene Mills was kind of like a summer mentor for me. It's where I was introduced to catch wrestling, and submission. I was like fucking 15. But one time we had the night off. We were all kitchen boys, a group of us, and we had the night off, and we went with all the older counselors into Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, to kind of hang out. A couple beers later, and some, we ended up going out partying and stuff, and we were actually late coming back to the camp, and it was rough. Yeah. So it ended up to where we had to clean out all the bathrooms. It was pretty nasty. But it was an enjoyable job. So I can't say like that was probably it wasn't the worst, but we did have to, the toilets were disgusting and we all got in trouble for it and stuff. But, I say that, probably just the cement work again. Not that it was like a terrible job, like I had to clean poop or something, but the cement work was rough, bro. It was,
construction's tough, hard work for sure, man.
And then for the swimming pools and all that stuff, man, it's a different kind of mud you have to work with. It was a lot. So I'd probably say that, as far as like physicality and stuff, like, fuck, bro, it was hard.
Yeah. That was in Florida. that was in Florida too. So you're probably doing that in the heat and everything. Yeah.
Woo, bro.
That's rough.
The humidity and everything. Yeah. Yeah. So,
what's something you wish you were better at outside of martial arts?
I say that, I probably communication. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like I say that a lot of times, I get a lot of people staring at us, or me and Vincent, and it's like, hey dude, I see your videos. You see mine. Why don't you just come over and say hi? Like, it's like, hey, I have sunglasses on, so I see you've been staring at me for the last 30 minutes. It's like, just come over and say, hey, what's up, Cradle guy? Like that. Yeah. But no, all jokes aside, probably, probably that, just where it's like, bro, like, like I say, I'm pretty recluse, little bit of an introvert. So all this is like beyond me. Like I'm sweating bad right now.
Right now you are?
Oh yeah. Totally.
Oh dude. Oh man, you got nothing to be nervous about, dude. You're killing it. You're doing awesome.
Always, I'm just like that. But yeah, probably say like, probably that or golf,
Yeah, golf. I love the wide strategy. Yeah, the wide spectrum there of things. Yeah.
Well, I did. I thought that was kind of like the trade-off coming out here. Was like, oh, well, we moved on a golf course. I was like, all right, well, let me give it a shot. And I really tried, bro, but I suck so bad.
I don't think I've ever played golf once in my life, man. It's something that I know a lot of people are into it, but I don't think I've ever played one time.
No, just like putt on a date or something.
Yeah, putt.
My short game is strong, I've played putt many a time. But no, I just can't get the ball to go straight. So
that's
it's
awesome.
And then because I don't want to say because I'm so good at other things, but usually like second or third time, I can kind of get it, and then I can have some fun with whatever I'm doing. But man, the golf is just like demoralizing. Like I don't come home happy. I'm like, this sucks.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully it gets better, man. Now that you're living on a golf course, pretty much, you'll have plenty of practice.
Yeah.
What do you think is your favorite bad food to eat? Favorite junk food?
Let me see, because it's changed. It's changed. Cause I've been trying to eat good and stuff, but I'm a sucker for these crumble cookies. And plus my daughter, works for Omri Gushon, I don't know if you've seen him. The chocolatier guy who he'll make like a giant Lego man, but it's chocolate, or he'll make like a piano, and then he'll take the key out and eat it. It's chocolate. He's super famous or whatever. But she brings home like all the pastries and stuff from the academy. So I got a pretty strong sweet tooth. I try not to, but yeah, like lately it's been like these crumble cookies, bro. And then they're different all the time, so you're like, hey, look, they got a new one.
Oh, dude, yeah, sweets are hard, and it's especially hard when it's right in front of you like that. Like if your daughter works for the guy, or there's I don't know if you know the show. You know the show Cake Boss. Are you familiar with that show? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the guy that started Cake Boss, he has this chain of bakeries, and they just opened one in the neighborhood. So so when I'm walking to training to and from, I have to walk past this place. And dude, every day I have to like walk with like blind, like one side, I just put my blinders on and don't look. Cause it's like, dude, if I see what's in the window, and it's all the same kind of thing. They make like this, like these cakes that look like they're not actually, it looks like a statue, but it's a cake. And
yeah.
Can't do it. Only on the weekends. Only cheat meals are on the weekends.
Yeah, so that was the thing, because it was a kind of a simple question, but kind of tough, because I have, I just turned 53 October 8th, so I've been trying to eat clean and do that kind of stuff, I have backed off some of the calories, though. Like I was trying to do like 4,000. Man, I can't eat that much. I don't know how those guys do all that, Yeah, I mean, whatever. But no, I just been trying to eat clean lately, just better health and stuff. But yeah, I'm a sucker for those crumble cookies.
Awesome. Good answer. Dude, last time I asked you this question, you gave a really funny answer that everyone really liked. I asked who your favorite superhero was, and you went through a tirade about why Silver Surfer's a dick. Do you remember that?
Yes. Well, he just has he has all the power. Yeah. Like, well, he just has he has such capabilities, or it just is like, man, he just gets taken advantage of and stuff. It's like he's almost, yeah, I don't know, but it's cool. I'm a fan for sure. And then
could it possibly be jealousy that he gets to surf through space? Could it possibly be that you're jealous of, that you wish you could surf through space like him?
Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely. How cool would that be, bro?
That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah. Totally. We talk about the superheroes and the superpowers, and sometimes people don't think about the fun ones like that, just being able to surf through space.
Yeah.
If you could pick a superpower, what would you choose?
So, man, it's a tough one. And I probably have to say again, just maybe like the power to heal, or, that kind of, just whatever, if it's a physical or emotional or some kind of, just that, like if, say someone's hurt, you could fix their arm, or if someone was sad, you can make them happy. It's just simple.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a good answer. Final question for the Pummel game, David. If jiu-jitsu or grappling or martial arts didn't exist, what do you think you'd do with your life instead?
Oh man, you already know the answer to that. I say surfing, but let's just say, hey, take that out of the equation. I especially with living here, just kind of like when I say travel, but I've kind of been into the hiking kind of thing. I mean, not that I'm really like climbing any kind of mountains or anything, but I just think like travel and that kind of thing would be something that I would be into. Um, yeah, just kind of going to different places and experiencing the different settings and stuff. Um, like I say, I'm a beach kid. I grew up, right there, New Smyrna, whatever. And then to be out here now, and I did like kind of put it like make it like that in my brain, kind of where it's just like, okay, so I did the beach thing. I was 50. I don't really. We don't. I don't, honestly, I don't really surf that much in Florida because the sharks and everything. It's terrible, bro. It is, yeah. Daily. There's, and then they're not like attacks. It's just like a bite that's gonna tear your tendon, and you're gonna have your thumb's gonna move weird, or I saw a guy get bit on the calf, and his Achilles was torn. It's terrible. So for me, it would just kind of be that, like I say, I've experienced the beach life. The desert thing was a new chapter for me. If I wasn't grappling or doing jujitsu or even surfing, it would probably just be that, like, just like traveling around and experiencing different like cultures and places.
Yeah, what you just described with sharks, man. I've told you this before, but sharks are my number one phobia. And I feel like people don't talk enough about when they defend sharks, like, oh, you have a better chance of getting like struck by lightning twice than killed by a shark. The key word is killed. Like, you can lose a thumb, you can lose a hand, you can lose a foot. They're not including that in the statistics, I swear.
Yeah, it's, the same here, and I grew up naively just like surfing in those areas, but honestly, the ecosystems have changed. Things are protected. You can't fish them anymore, that kind of stuff. So as from I need my appendages and they need to work too. So we were renting out the Typhoon Lagoon and surfing at the Disney Wave Pool in Florida. But that's the thing too, is like I do still surf, but I travel to different places, just kind of using this as like a headquarters,
Yeah.
And it's the same with the seminars and stuff too, or as far as like this is just kind of where I jump off from.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Well, David, that was the final question for the Pummel game. Congratulations. You win for a third time. You got your double underhooks.
Sweet. I got them.
So, David, man, I wanted to dive into some
just don't suplex me.
I don't know that I could suplex you, David. I think I'd end up in a cradle. Somehow you'd put me in a cradle. Speaking of which, man, I wanted to talk some technical discussion with you here about the cradle system that we referenced earlier. Yeah. So, in your instructionals, you show the various types of cradles that exist, and the two primary options are going to be the near side cradle and the far side cradle. For the listeners that are new to cradles and don't know the difference, would you mind explaining what the difference is and the unique benefits between the near side and the far side cradle?
For sure. The near side cradle usually comes off of like, any kind of defensive reaction or offensive from a snap down, just in a traditional wrestling sense. As far as like a jiu-jitsu application, you can stuff a lot of guards, open butterfly, that kind of stuff. You can neutralize their attacks by applying the cradle and shutting them down, and then from that position, that near side position, based on like say a wrestling rule set or catch wrestling, you have a lot of power as far as like drive or force to drive towards a fall or a pin, but we use that pressure for control in a jiu-jitsu or a submission setting, and we use that kind of control as like a headquarters position to transition into to submission from there. as far as like far side cradle, a lot of that are the positions solidified by kind of in a jiu-jitsu setting, I have to arrange this, but in a jiu-jitsu setting, it comes from moving through different guard positions, almost based on how your opponent is playing them. It's not so offensive like the near side where you're just like woof and you stuff the guy. It's more of a artistic movement. It's you can solidify the position also from a traditional side control, whether you're trying to pin the person in a wrestling rule set, or you just have side control, chest to chest. A lot of guys, and I say this too, the jiu-jitsu guard play or jiu-jitsu position feeds the cradle by wanting to control the space inside. Everybody knows, jiu-jitsu is kind of like a half ball, half coil, knees to elbows to try and control the space for the pass or to prevent the pass, that kind of thing. So the far side cradle, it's almost like a stalking butler. It's just, I'm just kind of waiting for you to present what you would do traditionally, and then we apply it from there. Meaning, a lot of guys will do that, like false triangle, where they put their knee, their foot to their knee to prevent, say, the mount or the pass, and we'll collect the leg from there. And then also the benefit of that is, like, bro, you either position near side or far side, the front or the back, you already have control of their head, and they sleep on that. A lot of guys or opponents don't pay attention to that. They're just concerned with the lock and their position within the bunch, whether they can use it as far as, like, some guys do yoga on Sundays. They can put their leg over their head. It doesn't matter that they're like this. You know what I mean? So we got a little something for them. And then other guys don't want to be cradled. So they, they'll fight the bunch and kind of like try to force the lock apart. It's a ego, they want to explode. So we'll take advantage there as well. But there's also, there's a couple other positions as well. Like we use a lot of what's called a jackknife cradle, which is kind of like a far side, but it's the opposite leg. A lot of guys will try to collect like this bottom leg where the top leg is still free, and it prevents a threat. So we try to neutralize that by locking up with what we call a jackknife cradle. So as far as like, it's what we've turned into a headquarters position, and then basing all of our techniques off of the reaction that your opponent gives you once you've solidified the bunch, whether it be in a near side, facing your opponent, or far side where, I'm almost behind him already. So, but yeah, it's tough though once they're locked up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one thing that's so surprising to I think a lot of people that haven't experienced being put in a cradle before is you would think that you can just extend your legs and your upper body and break the grips of the hands.
That's the ego. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but man, it's a surprising amount of control that you're stuck in, and most people can't.
Well, the joints are already compromised at that point. It's gone to, say like here at a 45, the hip joint is strong, but compressed to a 22, you don't have the same kind of strength, or the tendons, it's extended. It doesn't have draw power, like to push down. Yes. So that's the benefit of collecting the hips, is where they don't have that like explosive power. But some guys can feel it coming, or they have a big fucking tree trunk leg and they don't want to be cradled, you know? But sometimes we just fake it, Ryan, you know, I'll just like, oh, I'm going to do the cradle, and he wants to explode and bust out, and then resource our instructional. I have, you know, over 100 techniques you can slam on this poor fella, you know, from there.
Yeah. And that's been one of the coolest things that I've found when I'm with someone that is really, really strong and they can muscle through, or they're good at timing it. By elongating themselves like that, they leave themselves wide open to getting mounted or having their legs entered into, and you do a really good job of showing all the different avenues that can happen when someone resists the cradle. So it's a system that works not only when you have the actual position, but when someone is actively defending it and stopping you from doing it. So
yeah, it's really cool. And they are at Fanatics. They're getting ready to bundle all my instructionals. That way you can kind of get them at once, which they've bundled a couple other guys. And with respect to, it's all great material, but like within a bundle, you'll have like, say, a turtle attack or a Kimura video, or I'm gonna do a leg lock. And it was awesome and a great opportunity, you know, to get instructionals for sure. But I'm really happy about ours being bundled because of the way that the systems kind of feed each other. And I actually put them together like that. I mean, besides the gi instructional is in there as well, and that for me, that's a standalone. I love that instructional the most because I always say, like, hey, you know, we're wrestlers that love jiu-jitsu, but we're also jiu-jitsu players that know how to fucking wrestle, you know? But I love the material. Being a wrestler and, you know, grabbing a sweaty ankle or a slick wrist or, you know, wet neck. It's like, bro, the fact that I can hold the material and not let go, or hold your pants and use the material as a weapon, you know, or a lever, I fucking love it. So, you know, we formulated positions using like I say, within that instructional, there's not an ounce of material that's neglected or any limb that's discarded. Like, bro, we attack it all, and I use the material through every technique. So, but again, within the techniques, like I say, our first instructional, those techniques you can use even in the gi. You know, they transition, but at what follows is, you know, then it starts to get a little dirty. Then we do the stuff from the bottom, and then we do the stuff from standing on the feet. So it's a pretty good mix. I feel, as far as like a bundle where it's almost like a journey, kind of, you know, within the material.
For any video game fans out there, it's kind of like buying expansion packs. If you buy the main cradle system instructional, all the other ones plug into it somehow, and it all works together.
Yes, and I do say that too within each instructional. I was like, hey, you know, this comes off of like the first one, and then if you want to put your knee on the guy's face, you can do that, you know, kind of stuff.
I love it.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the bundle and the opportunity for everyone to, you know, kind of. You know, the materials gathered. So, it's cool to have the opportunity to, you know, put it all together.
That's awesome, man. David, one thing, while I have you here, I'm going to selfishly pick your brain with something I am struggling with. So one thing I've not been able to make work yet is attacking the cradle from a bottom position. And I think that's a really, really cool aspect of the cradle that you show, is that you can attack it from bottom positions and reverse from bottom to top. I've tried several times. Man, I can't seem to make that one work for me. What do you think are some of the keys of using the cradle effectively from the bottom position to reverse things?
There's two elements, and the first one comes off a surprise, and then the second is once you've solidified the cradle or the element of surprise is gone, these guys go into say like I don't want to say like base mode, but you'll start to get dead weight. You'll start to get like base. The hands put out wide. They'll try to push on your face, that kind of thing. So at that point, it becomes management. You have to be aware of what they're doing. If they're basing, you're not going to get them over, and you hold them. And then when they move to your face to try and break the lock, what do they not have? A base. So you roll into the base. It's just management. But also like, it's funny because, Craig, I'm sure you've seen him do it or whatever, where Craig has done a couple cradles from the bottom.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Man, does my DMs blow up? So I was like, well,
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's effective and really, like I say, it's so I'm not sure if you've gotten into the instructional, but it kind of, the foundation is that there's an element of surprise, and then there's management, because like I always give our opponents some credit. Guys don't want to be swept. Guys don't want to be reversaled. They're going to make it hard for you. So like, at that point, like I say, you kind of take your lumps, but you have to be aware or observe of what's going on. Whether they're basing out, they don't have anything to create any kind of tool against you. So when they decide to commit to like pushing on your face or trying to break the lock, that's when you take advantage, because they don't have any base. So yeah, a little bit of science involved too, yeah, for sure. And then it also has to do with some of the rotation and stuff, where guys, I think I just did a video here where I sweep like almost like a low to sweep, pendulum sweep with a hybrid chin controller, chin pick. But listen, hey, guys are good. You go to sweep the dude, he's going to put his hands out, right? I mean, so that's kind of what makes our stuff a little different, where guys just going to go ahead and go through with the sweep because he wants to get likes and views and fire comments. And, when honestly, you go to sweep the guy, traditional pendulum, or guy's going to post out, going to base and make it hard for you, so you have to have, another option or direction or just that kind of stuff. So for us, that's where we kind of come in. For sure, we all know the sweep and how to apply it, but what happens when the guy goes to defend it? Guys don't show that part of it. Guys just, like I say, they want to be cool on Instagram and roll the guy over. For us, I'm trying to create solutions for or problems or obstacles, that kind of stuff. We're here to help.
That's awesome. Well, man, like I said, it's helped me tremendously, and I really do appreciate the level of effort that you and Vinny put into to laying out all the options that are available and what to do when it's not working. And you guys did a really great job laying out this blueprint. So
thank you.
Of course, for anyone out there that wants to check this out, I really do recommend it. This is one of the ones that's had a huge impact on my game personally. It's called Blackout Hybrid Pin and Cradle System. That's the one I really recommend you guys starting with. But again, as David mentioned, we are bundling these together. So be on the lookout for the bundle packages that we have of David's instructionals.
Mm-hmm.
He's got several different instructionals with us on the platform, but I really encourage you to start with Blackout Hybrid Pin and Cradle, because that really is kind of the epicenter of everything, and then everything else builds from there. So check it out at BJJFanatics.com.
I got the goosebumps on that one. Yeah, thank you.
David, what are some of your major goals for 2025, man? What are some things you hope to accomplish?
So I'm headed out this weekend for our first coaches camp. I have my first affiliation in Ohio, Krav Maga Cleveland, which is really cool, man. Because I'll be honest, it's not just the jiu-jitsu community. Like, we've gotten a lot of attention from the self-defense community. The guys at the KCC, the knife control set concepts, they're Eli Knight and a couple other guys. They're friends of mine, but have adapted some of my side control positions and controls in their knife fight. I'm like, hey, when the knife comes out, I'm out of there. I don't care what moves. I'm like, I'm gonna go kick the possum down the street. Like, shit. Everybody wants to be such a tough guy. I love it, man.
You don't want to do like those shock knife rounds with those guys.
Yeah. No, I don't even play. But with respect to what they do, they found value in some of my catch wrestling positions that I demonstrate, north-south control stuff. So, and also some of the Fit to Fight guys in Charlotte, are fans of what we do. Like I say, hey, with respect, you guys train against guns and knives, all good, but man, it always goes to the ground. So they've found value in kind of like what we do, beyond point jujitsu. So it's kind of cool. So I go for the coaches camp. We signed the year contract for our first affiliation, which I'm stoked. But I have my sights set on our international visit. We just got the passports taken care of and stuff. So we're making plans for right after the new year. I have the guys in Finland. It's really cool. I got 10th Planet Finland. So there's this gym in Tamir, Finland, and the guy held up a video the other day saying, "Hey, look, it's our gym's gone to the dark side thanks to Blackout Grappling, and bro, it's like 60 people in there doing cradles in the gi and stuff." I was like, "Wow!" So then I put it up, saying thank you, and then the 10th Planet Finland, which is a gym across town, goes, "Hey man, we train your stuff too." He goes, "I teach everybody over here at 10th Planet." He goes, "Everybody's hip to all your cradle stuff, back and forth with these two gyms." It's like, we do it too. So really, really cool, man. And then as far as like, being over there, I have a couple friends in the Netherlands area. They're anxious for us. So yeah, it's just big. The same. I got a bunch of people in Australia that are excited to see me. So we're just kind of, it's been a little bit of it's taken a little bit of time, but I think now is the time. So that's pretty much what we're focusing on, is the affiliation, and then the international seminars for 2025. I'm open to privates and stuff here in Vegas. I don't have actual brick and mortar because I don't want to be put into a competitive gym, realm of like, oh, we have the best gym and you have the, because our techniques are for everyone, so I don't really want to close any doors on us right now. We have everything is open. We're kind of in a good place and stuff. So I think just that, although I do kind of, kick around the idea of finding like a small place or just kind of opening up a HQ, but it's tough, bro, because I travel a lot. So, but as far as that goes, just making $1 million and catching some waves. I don't know.
That's amazing, brother. Well, dude, congrats on all your success, man. I know this is,
Thank you.
It's been a long time that you've been developing and working on this, and I really commend you. And thank you again for helping make my game better. I really do appreciate it.
Man, that kind of stuff is what I say. It's like, listen, it's not really going to change my bank account and likes and views, and I don't do it for that shit. I'm kind of a little bit older than that. Like I'm almost forced to be on these platforms because I have to. But like I say, I just do what I do. And to have this kind of attention, it makes me feel a little bit better, just about like, hey, maybe this is really what I am supposed to be doing, So I'm stoked about it for sure. Like I say, if I can just be that, like, oh, I went to the seminar, man, the bald guy showed me some shit, like, oh, bro, it was fucking cool. That's all I'm doing it for. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I love that, dude. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, folks, unfortunately, we're fresh out of time. David, always a great conversation, my friend. Thank you for being here and sharing your insight with us today. You're welcome on the show anytime you ever want to come back, my friend.
Oh, man, thank you. I dig it. Yeah, it's so much fun, for sure.
Awesome. I'm very happy to hear that. For anyone out there that wants to keep up with, of course, man. For anyone out there that wants to keep up with David, it's real easy to do so. All of his social medias are the same thing. It's Blackout Grappling. So Facebook page, Blackout Grappling. Instagram is Blackout_grappling. YouTube, Blackout Grappling. Make sure you guys find him on YouTube and subscribe and hit the little bell icon to get notified when he adds new videos. And then blackoutgrappling.com. That's where you guys can book him for seminars and privates and see what he's up to. He's also active on Patreon. So if you guys want to get some content on Patreon, you can find it there. Blackout Grappling. And then also, guys, he's got several instructionals with us. The one we talked about in depth today is Blackout Hybrid Pin and Cradle System, but he's got several others that all plug in to this main system. So you can't go wrong with whichever one you pick up from him. Head over to bjjfanatics.com and look for the bundle because he's going to be bundled. They're going to be bundled up pretty soon.
Yeah, we have one as well. It's a hybrid grappling blueprint. And I say right out of the gate, like, listen, it's a video of what we do, of what I do. Like if I roll with you, this is the shit I'm going to do to you, or what we do. So, we just were like, hey, let's just open the bag and let everybody know what we're about. And I really like that one as well. It's a great mix of catch wrestling fusion, jiu-jitsu. Like I say, we are, wrestlers that love jiu-jitsu, but we're also jiu-jitsu players that know how to wrestle. So, I'm really proud of that instructional as well. So that's worth one that's worth checking out for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So guys, make sure you just type in his name in BJJ Fanatics. You'll see all the options come up and you really can't go wrong with any of them. And David, thank you once more, my friend. I appreciate you being here. I look forward to the next one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Ryan. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. And that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the BJJ Fanatics podcast.